Hello there, everybody. This is Alex from Hardcore Guides, bringing my guide for Devil May Cry 4 on Dante Must Die difficulty. Today we're doing Mission 16, entitled Inferno. Not really the hardest mission we've done, especially compared to things like Mission 15 and I think like Mission 14, if I remember correctly. But this one is a bit of a challenge, and only realistically on the boss fight itself. So, yeah, we're fighting Beryl. Finally made it to him. Now, the first thing that's up is, of course, the fish. And I tried multiple different methods to see what could probably work on them. And I just stuck with the usual shotgun while they're underground. I tried shooting them while they're in the air to see if I can get a possible stun out of it. But that never ended up working. But luckily enough, if you shoot them enough times while they're inside the water, they will eventually pop out, or, slow down. Like, that's always technically been a thing anyway, but at least in DMD mode, they pretty much have the same attributes that they had then, too. And if you shoot them enough times with the shotgun or whatever weapon, they'll eventually pop out, and you can just bully them from there. So that's when I just take my chance, knock one in the air, and then go for that. And the thing is, too, they are a little bit overwhelming, not going to lie, but if you wait long enough for them to kind of pop out and then go for some attacks, like wait for them to pop out of the water and then go back in the water, so that way you could just go back to shooting them down and then knocking them out, then that should help. And plus, you got a bunch of green orbs around, so if things get really nasty, you could use that. And of course, since we are getting poisoned, I remember a long time ago, I used to think that, oh my gosh, like damage, man, like how am I supposed to... How would anybody S rank this if you take damage? That makes no sense. Only then to realize some odd years later that, oh, well, damage doesn't matter in this mode at all. So for S ranks, so as far as I'm aware. But yeah, that room, you can skip that entire room. That's what I did. If you don't skip it, you're just fighting nothing but swords, which reasonably aren't that difficult. But for this room, now you have to fight the statues with the swords, which is absolutely annoying, and then I just go with the same tactics I have been using for a bit, where essentially if they happen to get in air and go for a charge shot, I'm just going to use shotgun to kind of knock them out. And then luckily enough, if you do happen to hit a couple swords while you're fighting these guys, which I recommend prioritizing the armors, I recommend prioritizing them instead, and then sticking with Trickster, so that way you can kind of teleport up to the swords whenever you take them down. But yeah, if you're fighting them, and then you happen to hit a sword alongside them, then they'll typically kind of hit them too, and possibly even break. So it's not a bad idea just to focus on them, and then dodge accordingly when you're about to get hit. Which luckily these guys are not that bad to deal with. So I just do the same usual tactic of just shoot them out of the air, go on the ground, teleport toward one of them, and then do that. I don't use Stinger much to try to get close to them because I feel like it's not nearly as fast, so I tried not to, and then I'm kind of worried that I might accidentally hit them out of their sort of being stuck in the ground little thing, so that's what I'm trying to essentially avoid, unless they're toward a wall, which I guess right there, that worked out, so I must be wrong with the stinger thing. I must have forgot. I don't know, it's been a bit, so... And now, right now, currently I'm trying to work through Mission 17, and that one's giving me a lot of pain. Like, I can get to the boss, but once I get to him, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And you probably noticed that there's some barrels missing. That's because I did actually die, so there was a continue. Something else I forgot to talk about, too, with the statue guys, is I like to kind of make them, or I like to attack them from the front. And, by the way, I'm so mad. I had such a good run on this part, too. It sucks. So I like to attack them from the front and then just go for a dodge in the back. You can jump, and then that would also help you dodge too. Or you can, at the very least, just do what I'm doing, just do a regular Trickster, or even Royal Guard. Royal Guard works perfectly too. And I'm sorry for all those people that might be looking forward to some cool Royal Guard stuff, but this is definitely not the playthrough that I ended up doing it in. So, apologies in advance, of course. I mean, it's too late for that now. We haven't been doing much of it. But hey, at least I've started to actually use something other than Swordmaster. I'm playing differently than I used to play back in DMC3, so... Which, by the way, I gotta get back to finishing DMC3 on Switch, because I want to unlock DMD mode so I can play it that way, too. Nothing wrong with the original game, but I do actually like... I do like the switchboard. I think it's pretty damn good. Not gonna lie. And then right here, some orbs, but you can tell I already missed them. So I was just double checking my work, make sure that I did miss them. For this part, now you have to fight 2 of the regular armors, and then you gotta fight the gold armor guy, which you have to fight multiples of. And there's no really crazy good advice I can give you, besides, well, one, luckily the gold version, or I guess more white bronze, it's hard to tell, but luckily for him, he doesn't DT nearly as fast as his other friends do. The elites don't. I guess that's probably what they are, probably the elite version. They don't tend to DT nearly as fast, which is nice. And then if I'm lucky enough, I can at least hopefully knock one of these guys into the corner or something, and then just start doing some back attacks. And then whenever the elite version tries to attack me, I just use Trickster to kind of just dodge, that sort of thing. But then, of course, they happen to spawn more guys, which is just a pain in my ass. And this is me just testing out the water for stuff. If you want to play it more safe, just stick with Rebellion. But if you're fine with trying out a little bit more experimental things, then I'm just using the pinups, or I was, to try and see if I can just get at least some good hefty damage, because after all, when you do explode them, if there's like a ton of those on somebody, you do get like a ton of stuff. And then also, whenever their shield breaks, I like to go for air combo stuff. So basically, I'll just, do an uppercut, and then I'll go for Swordmaster attacks, switch into Dark Slayer, switch back into Swordmaster, and then so forth and so forth. So just in case you haven't seen, previous videos of what I've been doing. And this is just me kind of being funny. So I kept trying to hit him with Trickster, like try to teleport on him, but I didn't get that chance. But yeah, the thing is, I know this is really bad advice for anybody, really, but you're going to have to, learning their attack patterns, wow. Learning their attack patterns is something that is worth getting down. I mean, granted, if you're playing Dante Must Die difficulty, at this point in time, you most likely are pretty aware or pretty familiar with their attacks. Now, do bear in mind that I have not played DMC4 all the way through, especially for Dante, in I don't know how long. So, I think since I did my Let's Play of it, I think. Maybe. No, that was a long time ago. That's weird, though, too, is I remember looking that up, and I'm like, how long ago did I do DMC4? Because it must have been like a couple years ago. No, it was freaking, I don't know, like 2018 maybe. And it's like, what? There's no way in hell it was that old. There's no way. But yeah, I did do a lot of trial and error stuff. I think I trial and error this mission. I did this one a couple times to try to see if I can get it down. The stretch toward Burial wasn't really that bad, but Burial himself is kind of the most obnoxious part. Alright, for these guys, basically I just teleport in, or at least just get close to them, and I just go straight for just regular Rebellion attacks. Nothing super fancy, and if I got DT for it, then at the very least I will use that without using Stinger, so I can try to save my DT just a little bit. Sometimes I do it, of course, but that's more likely near the end. But I try my best to just do very basic attacks while in DT to just kill them off as quick as possible, because these guys, even though they're not that dangerous or really that obnoxious either, well, I mean, I guess that's not true. They are quite obnoxious. It's mainly their attacks that kind of throw me off, because it's kind of hard to dodge and figure out that pattern directly, because by the time I fight these dogs in any other difficulty, I mean, they're already dead, so. And shotgun works wonders, of course, but you can see right there, I'm pretty much just trying to fight one at a time, going to DT. If they crowd around me, I'm gonna just do, pretty much just basic Rebellion combos, that sort of thing, just to get them killed quick, because I don't want them to DT at all, of course. And then when you come up here, I'll tell you when we get there. That way, if anybody skips ahead and sees what I do for the dogs, because there is a second wave of dogs that we have to deal with. But luckily, you don't have to. So, yeah, once these guys spawn in, I'm not going to bother with them. Now, there are green orbs, luckily, in a little bit of those ruins and stuff. You can break those down and get some green orbs if you need help that bad. But I would suggest just skipping the dogs. And again, if you're doing like a triple S rank run, most likely you're going to have to fight them, and then probably get that orb up there too. But I'm not doing that, so I'm good to go. I'm perfectly content with just getting the heck out of here. I remember when I was doing this chapter again, and I got to this part, and I'm thinking, like, well, that's weird. Are we going to fight Beryl in, like, chapter 17? Because this is a pretty dang long chapter. Only then to realize where I was at that point in time. I'm like, oh, this is going to be awful, isn't it? Well, at first, I thought I had it under control. I was like, oh, I'm probably going to do it pretty good. And then I didn't. But I'll show you what I do here. So basically, Beryl, he's a little bit trickier when you're playing Dante. So if you stick to his side, he'll typically do a lot of relatively somewhat normal attacks. If you go behind him, he's got a really fast back kick. And if you attack him from the front, he's got that really fast forward kick as well. This is where I believe that Trickster will come in handy a ton, especially for the explosion, because I can do a lot of damage to you if you don't. When he's doing the explosion, just mash circle and you should be able to dodge it. But every opportunity that I get, I'm going to try to use the Lucifer pins so I can get as much damage on the explosion when they do blow up, and I cause them all to blow up as best as I can. And then, of course, if I take damage, I'm just going to DT. I'm not playing very well, and I'm very well aware of that, but luckily there is a checkpoint here, so if you do die like I do, then you should be fine. But play better than I do. That's, my biggest key takeaway from this. And pretty much, just like I said, just relatively sticking with Trickster has helped me out quite a bit for this. Royal Guard works too, I'm pretty sure, but I just stick with Trickster here just so I can dodge around the lava, that kind of thing, and just get as many dodges in as possible. And if I get too far away, instead of using a stinger, I'll just teleport. Mostly. So that way I can try to get close without having to accidentally be stuck in an attack. Now he's in weak mode, and I pretty much just do a couple of air combo stuff, that sort of thing. And then I'm just getting beat up. But now he's knocked down. This is the perfect opportunity to put some pins in him and then let them explode when he catches back on fire. And I'm not sure for his DT. I think he might just do it regardless, it seems. Because he seems to do it every time. Though he gets low on health, but I'm not like 100% sure on that. But yeah, try to, depending on which side you prefer, focus on that side. Whether it be the back, the front, or the side. So whichever one that seems to be the most easiest for you to dodge. And there are different attacks depending on that. So I know, once again, it's like, well, that's pretty obvious stuff. Yeah, but Beryl he seems easy, but he's a little bit tougher. So there's that. Anyway, that's it. So as always, take care, everybody.